Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You, episode 21. What was that?
Because it hadn't connected yet, but we're connected now.
We're always connected.
You hear that, guys? We're always connected.
Cindy, how could you be watching?
Hi.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome again to this week's podcast and live feed on Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You, episode 21.
Oh my god. Can you see her? Why are you laughing, Cindy?
Hi, Bill.
I'm watching you guys in mute on my other phone, and it's quite entertaining.
You know.
Hi, Zelina. Sandy. Hello. Hello, everybody. Good evening. We are back again. Alzheimer's episode
21. You like that?
Love it.
Okay.
All right, so let's get right to the meat and potatoes.
Her favorite saying.
We are talking about this subject here. Karen has written a book, and we've talked about it a couple of, well, pretty much every podcast so far, about her mom's journey with this disease, going on 18 years and counting. Available for you guys on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Chapters. Also, you can get your own personal copy if you inbox Karen and send her some details, and you can get your autographed copy sent out to you. So some exciting stuff happening. Let's get right to it. How are you this week?
I'm good. Busy week. It's only Wednesday, but it was busy.
Busy's good. How's mom?
Oh, funny that you should say that. So last night, when I usually say goodnight to my mom when I'm going to bed, so I went to see her, and then I honestly thought she wasn't with us anymore.
Why?
I know her breathing was so shallow, I couldn't tell if she was breathing because I kept looking and she wasn't making any sounds. She normally makes at least some sound. And I had to really, even when you put your finger, I couldn't see her chest going up and down because I guess it's shallow. And I couldn't feel anything, and she felt cold.
Oh, so you're scared.
Yeah, I was scared.
Yeah.
But then she made a sound, so, okay, crisis averted.
And I guess, as much as it's been, 2 years that she's now been in palliative, it's still never easier, or you don't get immune or accustomed to it. It's just, yeah. It's crazy.
It's the reality of the palliative journey. Yeah.
Hello, Karen and Wendy. How are you doing? From Bill?
Yes. I'm doing okay. Doing good. Oh, I started another course. So I have 4 more left.
And then what? You're like a brain surgeon, an astronaut. I don't know.
No.
What is it again?
No.
Some kind of something. What are you again?
It's just a doctorate in education. That's all. Okay.
Pass the salt. Okay, so today
great. Good talk.
We've got Cindy, my sister-in-law, back on the phone, wanting to talk about today's subject.
Yeah, it's a continuation because we were talking about caregiving, even being a primary caregiver, if you're in the home or if you are your loved one is in a nursing home, and how there's still challenges regarding both those roles. So Cindy brings that perspective. Her father has been in a nursing home and he has dementia. So she's going to talk a little bit about the financial component, because it's not necessarily free. We think that we in Ontario have health coverage and things are free, but it's until you have to access it you realize
a lot's not.
What's covered and what's not covered.
Right.
And so let's talk about that, Sin.
Hi, Sin.
Okay. Hi.
Welcome back.
Yes, I'm back. Actually, I like what you said, Karen, about that idea of us thinking that everything is going to be free and taken care of, because there's a lot of different loopholes that we're not aware of until we actually face them. So my dad is in a government-funded nursing home. And so I can only speak to our experience, and that is based on limited income. So if you were to kind of visit some of these nursing homes, they have different types of rooms, right? They have double occupancy rooms, so there's 2 people, or a semi. So there's 2 residents in one room, and then you have the private rooms. All the private rooms are not available if you are not able to pay the full, I guess, rent or the room and board.
So give me an idea of how much what does that run somebody?
And that's the thing, I can't necessarily, it's highly expensive, because I'll just tell you in comparison. Okay, so we were not eligible for a private room because it costs literally like double or triple the amount that we're paying right now. So the way it works for the semi rooms is if you're receiving government pensions, so CPP, so Canadian Pension Plan or Old Age Security, what happens is the nursing home has this algorithm based on every notice of assessment, and your rent is calculated so that everything every month goes to the nursing home minus $120. So...
And I'm sorry, hold on. So they expect, what are you supposed to do with $120? What is that supposed to do?
So the $120 is what they consider their personal allowance. So the idea is essentially the nursing home is going to cover for, accommodation, for food, for laundering, for all the PSWs and all the actual care. Things that are not covered would be things like medication, and outside utilities like cable or phone. You'd have to pay for that. Any additional... Sorry?
I was going to say, how about incontinence supplies?
No, they cover incontinence to a certain degree. So when my mom was there, she had a colostomy bag.
Okay.
That was not covered. So we had to pay out of pocket for her colostomy bags. But incontinence supplies, like my dad is currently in the adult diapers.
Right.
They cover all of that. So outside of that, so yeah, there's the medication, the outside bills, and then also like personal hygiene. So things like lotion and toothbrushes and getting his hair cut, for people to cut his toenails, that stuff we have to pay out of our pocket. So there was a lot of things that essentially both my parents had to give up because it didn't cover the 120. So they weren't able to sustain their life insurance policies because that wasn't covered, and that would take up most of their personal hygiene. So when my mom passed away, my brother and I took out life insurance policies for my dad, so we pay for that out of our pocket.
Okay.
Right? Now the other thing is, so say for example, for right now, my dad, his rent is about $1,600 because he gets $1,720 roughly, around like that, through CPP and OAS. If you say, for example, he gets approved for the GIS, which is the Guaranteed Income Supplement that most elderly people are able to get.
Not my mom.
Sorry?
Not my mom.
Right. So not all, like you have to do that whole eligibility thing.
Well, it's based on income, right?
Right. And both my parents were on long-term disability from like decades before they were they were brought into the nursing homes. So
like
my dad,
the CPP is long term, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So they never met the criteria for private room because they had no income and they had no essential assets or anything like that. So if, for example,
sorry, I just want to go back so that people understand, because they factor in all your assets, right?
Yes.
Right. So that would be like if you had RSPs,
yes,
any investments, Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of that gets into consideration for financial eligibility.
And sorry, I'm just
That's
going
okay.
to, because I just want people to understand. So they will factor in all your assets. This is, if you just joined, we're talking about the difference between caring for a parent in a nursing home and the financial component of caring for a parent in a home. So this also means that your father potentially, and I'm just putting it out there, could be sharing a room with somebody who has zero assets, right, and doesn't have to pay anything extra because of that.
Right. Most of the time, though, depending on how much assets they have, they would go into a private room, right?
Right.
So the semis are usually people who, again, can't afford the monthly rent because of how much it costs, or are solely dependent on government funding. So one thing that is also important to remember is if they're eligible for additional income, so the GIS, which is the Guaranteed Income Supplement, is something that they would add on every month, right? It's quite negligible if you think of it. It's roughly $100 a month, right?
Right.
If it's still, when you add that onto his monthly pension, if it's still under the rent, they will take that too. So they'll take anything you have minus $120 as long as it falls under the set rent.
And
Does that make sense?
And the $120 is per month.
That's per month.
What are you supposed to do with that?
Right. So a lot of the stuff we will pay out of pocket. So my dad doesn't have cable because he doesn't need it. He also he doesn't use it. Sorry. He also had to get a wheelchair because he's now wheelchair bound. That was not covered, so we had to pay for the wheelchair.
Even through assisted devices?
We got the coverage from assisted devices, but it only covered like 70%. So we had to then pay the additional 30% or the remaining 30%, which it equaled out to around $300 to $400.
Well, with my mom, she had to get a special wheelchair because it has to go right in the shower, right?
Right.
And it was like $2,000.
Right. Yeah. So my dad's is just a very basic wheelchair. But yeah, so that's not covered through the home. So that comes out of our pocket. If your loved one is on a lot of medication, it can add up, right? Like even if because of their age they only pay, I think, the dispensement fee.
Yeah.
It still comes out to like at least for my dad, like $20 to $25 a month. That has to be paid every month, right? So that comes out of the 120. So there's a lot of different things, like just a lot, like they consider them luxuries, like a TV and phone and really nice smelling shampoo and lotion and that kind of stuff. That would be paid by the family. Okay. And so regardless of how much money you earn or they earn, as long as it's under the rent, they will take everything except for 120.
So let's put it in perspective. Let's just say, so if you had, I don't know, I guess if you had more money, they're going to take everything.
Everything.
So then potentially, like, let's just say, okay, your pension is like $3,000 or $4,000.
And the rent is $5,000?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay, so I guess my head goes around, like, you'll never know how much the rent is. That's not full disclosure. That's not transparent.
It's not like they gave it to me when I first put them in, and we weren't eligible, right? So I can't say, because that was also 13 years ago.
Oh, okay, can I stop you, because
yeah.
Why don't you tell? Anita wants to know what Wendy keeps laughing at. So just tell them.
I apologize.
Oh my God, I even know what this is.
She's not laughing at Cindy, for sure.
I'm not. I have a husband that has issues, clearly, that feels like every time we're on camera, he's
doing Michael Jackson moves
to act like a fool.
Moonwalking.
So
kicks.
I was doing my best to keep a straight face, but obviously he just kept going until I broke, and I broke. So I apologize, Anita, and to all the other people that are watching me try to hold it together. Yeah. Anyway, continue, guys. I apologize.
No, that's okay. So basically the way that it works then is, okay, say for example the rent is $4,000 for a private room.
Okay. Right.
And CPP and OAS is only giving you $3,000. Right? Every
no,
month.
So what I want to know, I get that part. I get the fact that they're going to take whatever.
Right.
But my thing was that you could potentially be paying. I'm trying to put it in perspective for people to understand that you could be paying the $4,000 and somebody could be paying $1,700.
Yes. Yep.
Depending on your
and you're getting the same care.
The same care.
So I want people to think about what I just said.
Yes.
Right.
I do apologize if there's background noise. I just have to go and get
okay. So
so essentially that's how it works. So no matter how much more he would get on top of that, it doesn't matter. It's negligible because the nursing home would then take it. Right? And leave us with 120 because that's where we're at. They're not eligible for a private room. They're not eligible for any of that. But yes, you're correct. People are going to be paying different prices for the same care.
So you're almost like I guess damned for having a really good job and great income and a great education and a great everything before this disease hit you. You're kind of cursed for that because they're like, oh, thank you for all of your contribution, but you're still kind of going to be, put into the same category as everybody else.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I guess from the other perspective, say for example, our family, it's almost like that idea of not equal opportunity, what's the word? That my parents, because they didn't have a lot of money, they were still able to access services that they may not have been able to afford on their own, right? So in that sense, you can see it from both sides, right? Like you can see it if you're paying a lot of money, then it's kind of unfair. But then if you're on the other end of it, then
I understand that, but it's the same thing that Wendy just said, right? Because that essentially would be my mom, right? Because she and my father, they had good jobs, so they have a good pension, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there are definitely, and you can tell definitely, with some of the, with some residents compared to others, right? So for example, with the private rooms, you're allowed to actually, and actually with the semis, you're allowed to bring your own furniture from home,
right? Kind
of to make it look nice and cozy, that kind of thing. And so you'll see some of the apartments, they look like apartments. They look like they have their furniture from home. It looks really nice and lived in. And then you have other rooms, like my dad's, where it typically looks like a hospital room.
Yeah, I guess, well, you have to go, right, Sin?
Yeah. No, it's okay. I'm good.
Because I was saying in Peel, they're going to have a dementia-friendly, they're doing a pilot project, and they're making one of the nursing homes completely dementia-friendly.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, the one thing that we were lucky with when we put them in was when my parents were together, they tried to make it look like a little apartment because they were married and they put the beds together. It was really cute. But then after my mom passed, he has to share a room with somebody he doesn't know and their families who come and visit. And so it's definitely a different dynamic, right?
Okay, so we have a question here. So are we referring to subsidized nursing homes or the regular? These are, I guess, the government nursing homes we're referring to. Because there are private nursing homes.
There are, yes. So this one is, it is government funded and monitored, right? So they have to follow government standards and mandates. in order to run, but they do get some funding from the government in order to do that.
Right.
Okay.
So that's something to think about.
Thank you
my
for
experience obviously is completely opposite of that, right?
So we'll talk about that. But thank you, Cindy, for chiming in and sharing your expertise, because obviously there's nothing better than somebody who's actually going through the process right now. So that was awesome.
Thanks, guys. And if you guys have any other questions, let me know. I mean, it sounds simple, but then it becomes complicated when trying to explain it. But again,
Cindy's completely involved in the nursing home. She sits on the board, right?
The family council, yeah.
The family council. Okay, so she's an expert in that area.
Yeah. So, and they've been there for over 13 years. So we've experienced a lot of different changes and stuff. So if anybody does come up with any questions just regarding the nursing home experience, please feel free to kind of let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I do have to run because I'm on the road now. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye. You're doing awesome again.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so why don't you, maybe since we're on that topic, start talking about maybe your experience making the choice to have your mom in home, in terms of in-home care. Well, she gave you the perspective of the nursing home. What is the comparison in your opinion?
I kind of knew
my children
going in that it would be, I knew that no matter what your income was, that they would take your income, and therefore it made more sense we made the decision not to put my mom in a nursing home from the beginning when she had the diagnosis. So that led to finding an actual caregiver. And at first, when I was new to this whole thing, I went through an agency thinking that was the best route, and even that cost money, so you had to pay like a finding fee. Over experience, I decided to hire like privately, by like just putting out an ad and finding a person that way. However, once you do decide to look after a loved one in your home, you become an employer. So you have to now get an employee number. You have to do payroll. You have to do all the necessary things that an employer will do. So you have to do T4s. And I used the Live-In Caregiver Program, which is a program run through CIC, which is immigration, that you can sponsor caregivers from a different country. I specifically sponsored from the Philippines. So that's another long process. You have to go through their whole process. You have to do a labor market survey.
Hold on. Is there a specific reason why you chose the Philippines, or was that just your choice, or were you told that they have better caregivers, or?
Well, when I was dealing with the agency, it was predominantly Filipinos that were caregivers, and they had the background, and to come here to sponsor somebody, they have to do a live-in caregiver program.
Okay. So they're trained.
Yeah, they're trained. Okay. So it just made more sense. And that's the route I went. In terms of when you hire a live-in caregiver, you have to have, you supply room and board. So it has to be, there's a criteria for it.
Your place has to be set up and conducive.
Right. It has to have a private room, has to have a lock. Like there's a lot of
prerequisites.
And it's strict, right? And that was the best option for me. However, again, that there comes a cost, and it depends on what you're going to negotiate, which of course has to be the labor. It has to run your provincial labor standards. So, it could cost you $2,000 plus, right?
Are you saying per month?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it could run you about $2,000, 20, because you have to pay source deductions on top of their salary.
So this is obviously like your mom's pension that's paying for predominantly all of that, because it's not like you have to come up with $2,000 plus your mortgage plus, you know.
Well, if you don't have it, yeah, you do. Like if you're in a situation like Cindy or anybody else that doesn't have it, you have to supplement the difference, or right.
So then you, in essence, somebody like that who's not set up like your mom, it would be almost cheaper to put her in a nursing home if you don't have that type of financial backing to be able to make your home accessible for that.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's probably cheaper. I don't know. I'm not sure what would be cheaper or not cheaper. I just know that you have to think the person still has to live. So like that's $2,000. Let's just say it's $2,000. We're going to use that. It's $2,000. But the person still has to, they're still living somewhere. They still have to eat. There's still utilities. Like that's just care.
Yes.
That's just care. That doesn't include incontinence supplies because it's not covered. Now, you know, there's stuff on top of that. Like where she said like everything's kind of covered except if you want a luxury item.
Right.
Nothing is covered above.
That's crazy to
like
me.
it's just $2,000 and that's
it.
labor.
Jeez, man.
And then everything else on top of that.
That's wild.
Yeah, but that's the reality.
That's wild. And then even, you know, when you're talking to me about tax time and how much money your mother has to pay laying in a bed in palliative care, like it is mind blowing. Our government is like
taxing you to death.
Literally.
And then when you're dead, sorry to be crass, but you pay taxes too, right?
Yeah, because I remember
you have to do one last income tax.
I remember my mom saying that was a definite issue after my dad transitioned.
Owe.
He did owe after he was in the ground.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're still.
That's what they say. One thing's for sure is death and taxes.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. In any case, that's our government. Okay. I think Anita had made that comment earlier in the...
Because she knows firsthand, just like me. I know firsthand.
It's crazy, guys. It's wild. Anyway, okay. So, again, I guess making the comparison, or if you're actually going through this presently and it's early onset and your loved one just got a diagnosis and your world is upside down and turned upside down. You have all these decisions to make and you don't know what to do and where to turn. I mean, these are some options that you definitely have to think about. A lot of people, myself included, I mean, I look at her and I'm like, I don't know if I would have been able to do this. Obviously signing up for this, you're not thinking it's going to be 18 years, but at the same time, you kind of do whatever you have to because it's your loved one. It's your mom, or your dad. But when you actually do weigh out both sides, it's tough either way, man. Like
I'll tell you, majority of the reason, besides the fact that we had already decided that my mom was going to come with me, and it's a lot. We spoke about that you have to have like a team sort of people. Unfortunately, when my dad passed away, I didn't have that team. So like my brother lives in Trinidad. Majority of my family lives in Trinidad. So I didn't have that team. So even if my mom was in a nursing home, like Cindy is saying, like I would still be the first point of contact anyways. And that wasn't conducive because I had a young baby, right? Like I could not.
You couldn't split yourself in so many different areas.
At least she was at home, so that I didn't have to travel somewhere.
Yes.
If there was a problem, I could just be okay. Let's just deal with it. It's here. But that's another reason why it made more sense that way. It really did.
For sure.
And I'm telling you, I said this to you too, even in the palliative journey, like because that option came up again. Like if I really couldn't take it anymore, I could have got emergency. I guess my mom could have gone to a nursing home because of like the length of time, and I could have probably done that option. But again, it's the same thing. I don't think I would ever go visit her. If she was in that nursing home for the last 2 years, I could probably count, because every day I'd probably have an excuse. Oh, something came, because I just probably wouldn't go. But at least now I see her every day, right?
Yeah.
So.
And it's kind of what Cindy said, she touched on that last week about the guilt that you go through putting your loved one or your parent in a nursing home. Like it's not an easy thing to just be able to say, okay, let me just dump my parent in this nursing home and let them be somebody else's problem. It's horrible. You don't want to see your parent anywhere close to a facility like that. And so there's a lot that weighs into these type of decisions.
And fortunately, if you're going to use that, I always say, if you're going to use that term with this disease, fortunately, but I do have to say, my mom, maybe it would have been different too if she had other health concerns. Fortunately for me, my mom only has Alzheimer's. There are she doesn't have, like, her organs are all healthy.
Right.
Like, she's not on, she doesn't require any other medical treatment. So maybe if she did that option, I would not have a choice. Like, Cindy's father has other complications.
That's right.
Except, and on top of having Alzheimer's, my mom just has, right? So
that does make a difference.
It makes a huge difference. So she doesn't really need that much medical care in that respect.
What's up, Angel? Okay, come here. Come.
Okay. All right. So I think, thanks, Anita. She said, I have a lot of strength. Yeah, I think I do.
For sure. So we wanted just to thank you guys again for the support, the continuous support that you guys continue to give. Week in, week out, we see our loyal viewers that continue to comment and, always tune in and, share and do all kinds of stuff. So we never want to allow that to go unnoticed. So we are grateful. As well, we have some exciting new merchandise that.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you mean that old thing?
What? I don't get it.
This old thing. Yes. So this is the logo.
You know who loves it? Jalen. He loves that hat.
It really is great.
He's like, it's cool.
It's a great hat. It's got the logo on the side, and of course, logo on the front. The WTF, What They Forget to Tell You, which is the name of the book. Shirts, hats, beanies. We're going to come up with some mugs. We're getting this done. So, all of you guys can take the opportunity. Little people just walking around.
Just props.
You can say hello. Say hi.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Bye, guys. So, all these things are going towards a great cause. As you know, you guys, Karen is going to be traveling in the near future to be speaking publicly about this disease and Alzheimer's awareness for caregivers and what their journeys are. So we're hoping to be able to fund some of the expense with the merchandise. So please, if you do want your own hat or shirt, beanie, whatever it is, inbox me or her. We can get you your own personal stuff, your size, all of that. So there's white tees, there's purple tees, there's black tees, whatever it is that you require or like, we can get you one. And all proceeds go to the travel expenses that she's going to need to come up with to travel. So that's exciting.
Yes,
and it looks great. I like this color. So I'm going to need one of these. Cutie.
Oh, because of the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, my toothless little one. Yeah, the tribe is feeling better from a couple weeks ago, so they're all over the place now. But in any case, anything else that we need to cover on, or?
Nope.
Okay. So we will be back next week, same place, same time.
Oh, there you are.
What do you mean there?
You were like hiding the whole podcast.
Who?
You were kind of
we were talking about
but you were like,
stuff.
yeah, but it was like, you threw me off.
You had your medical astronaut game face on. No, not astronaut. Wait, doctor. No. Surgeon. No. Lawyer. No. What is it? What are you again? to that. All right, Picky Nikki. Take care. You too. Thanks for
She was here. You missed her. She was here last Friday.
Were you like the pokeroo?
Yeah.
And I missed you again?
But we had to catch up. We had 4 hours to catch up on 40 years.
Whoa.
We did pretty good.
All right, good. Awesome. All right, anything else?
No.
Okay, continue to share.
Thanks for everyone that joined today and asked questions. That was awesome. And she's back.
What do you mean? I never left. I've been here.
Huh?
I said I've always been here.
Okay. Thanks again. Appreciate it. I don't know what you're doing.
Egyptian. I'm just going with it.
Okay.
So, guys,
thanks,
thank you.
Kevin.
Enjoy the weather because I think it's supposed to actually get nicer since yesterday was the first day of spring. You never know.
Well, I have my beanie, so I'm prepared. I'm ready to go.
It's the first day of spring.
Doesn't matter. I'm prepared.
Okay, she's prepared. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Be blessed. Stay blessed. We will see you next week. Peace and love. All right. Ciao.